Girls. Okay, so for some background, I'm 25, my partner's 29. We've been together several years. I love him to pieces. Okay, so after watching your Fresh and Fit podcast, I asked my partner if he knows about it or if he's watched it. He said he hadn't heard of it, but as we were talking, he was watching an Andrew Tate video. I've noticed since then, like, how often he watches them and those type of guy talk podcasts, but never Fresh and Fit. To be honest, when I'm like home and in the other room, like those kind of guy talk podcasts just like turn me off so fast. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure he watches most of them when I'm not home because he can tell that I get a little annoyed. So I'm curious to your opinions on Andrew Tate specifically, and if the ideas he promotes are any different from Fresh and Fit. I just worry because my partner does get kind of easily influenced by guys like that, and he's on social media a lot. So when I brought it up, he got pretty annoyed. He said as long as he treats me well, I have nothing to worry about, which, to be fair, he does. I just kind of worry, I don't know, isn't there something about, like, a certain kind of guy talk that, like, speaks to someone's character, you know? And, like, he's binging these videos. Am I just overthinking it? Have you girls ever been in similar, like, situations or had similar worries? Am I being controlling? Like, you know, how do I stop being a Karen about guy talk? Like,
I love that. How do I stop being a Karen? You're being a Karen, honey. You're being a Karen. And you're being a little controlling, too. Let him listen to what he wants to listen to. Okay. All right. So this is interesting to me. Let's be clear first and foremost about what she's worried about. She is worried that her guy is going to listen to this red pill commentary. She specifically mentions Fresh and Fit and Andrew Tate, and that he's going to be influenced by it. In other words, that he's going to listen and he's going to sit back and he's going to look at his relationship with her, and maybe he's going to be like, I don't know, I hadn't thought about that before. Or, you know what, I really don't like that she does that. Maybe I should say something. Or, maybe I need to be doing... That's what she's worried about. She's worried about some truth hitting him while he's listening to that that's going to change a dynamic in their relationship that she really likes. She seems to be comfortable with where things are. So she feels like he's malleable, right? She feels like he's malleable. And this is what I'll say. We exist in a world where we are constantly consuming stuff. If it's not a podcast, it's a television show. We read a magazine. We do not exist in a relationship in a bubble. The person that we are dating, married to, whatever, goes out, has their own conversations with their friends, listens to podcasts. My husband listens to podcasting all day long, all different types of content. If you are worried that the person that you are with is going to transform into a completely different person by virtue of listening to a wide variety of content, you have a bigger problem in your relationship, which is that you are afraid that that's not really who he is, or you're afraid that he's too malleable, or you're afraid that he doesn't know himself. There's something else going on. You cannot try to have a relationship with a guy, with a female, and put them in a bubble. You know it. You know you're going to get into an argument at one point, and that girl's going to call one of her friends, and, you know, they're going to talk it out. You can't worry every time they consume something from the world that they're going to turn into somebody different. It'll drive you crazy, and she shouldn't be worried about that. If she is worried about that, she should have a conversation with him about that. There's something deeper going on here. Now, the response by the women to Fresh and Fit in particular is fascinating to me. So we're going to listen to that response, and we're going to dig into why this response is so unbelievably problematic.
If you like ask him, like, why are you like misogynistic, he'll say, I'm not. Like, I love women and I think highly of women, but he just has really traditional views that, like, he does think women should be like taking care of kids and stuff, and like he'll say, like, oh, your girl's on OnlyFans, like I should get part of the money if my girl's on OnlyFans. Like, things that are just like controversial things that like a lot of like we would not agree with.
So once again, don't really know everything he says, but to me, I was just like, why are you guys kind of idolizing someone, I guess, that has so many controversial opinions when you guys are in long-term relationships that you really care about the girl? And to me, it doesn't make sense. And I can 100% agree. Maybe not Andrew Tate, because once again, I haven't listened to him. But if it's something like the Fresh and Fit podcast where you listen, and I do feel like it's just like total low blows.
The Fresh and Fit podcast is just a no-go for me. If I ever saw my boyfriend watching that, that would just be like a total red flag, because I've realized that they are like the bottom of the barrel shit version of Andrew Tate. Like, they want to be like him, but they are just so like hateful towards women that I guess are just even worse.
Yeah, and I think that you're not being a Karen, you're not being controlling. I think it's normal if you're watching your man who, you know, you have this like good relationship with, like listen to people that are kind of like saying controversial things that could potentially change the way he views certain things or change the way that he might treat you in the future or react in certain situations within your relationship. Yeah, that's going to be a turnoff. It's going to be a turnoff that your man is listening to someone like this.
So again, they are so worried that their guys will go and listen to content. They label it controversial. Honey, everything's controversial. Politics is controversial. You listen to a liberal, you listen to a conservative. This stuff is, manosphere stuff is controversial. Go listen to some feminist content. You want to hear controversial. Everything in life now is controversial because everyone is kind of in this click mode, right? Where they're talking, but they're feeling like, especially in the podcast space, this is a space where finally I can say what I really think. Everything's controversial because everyone's always waiting to be offended all the time too. Fresh and Fit is not hateful. Okay, she doesn't have to agree with all of Myron's comments. I don't agree with all of Myron's comments. Myron is not hateful. He is not hateful. That is the wrong word. And it looks to me like she hasn't spent a lot of time watching the content because nothing he's saying is hateful. Is it controversial? Sure, because it's going to make some people mad. Of course. Is it hateful? No, that's a big distinction. So I ask again, why would you be afraid for your guys to listen to the content? Because think about it this way. Let's say they know their guys and they're going to come back and say, no, my guys would never support what Myron's saying. My guys would hate that content. Okay, then you have no problem. Then your guys will listen to the content and they'll be like, oh, this guy's totally wrong. Oh, I totally disagree with that. Oh, yeah, that doesn't work for me. Oh, yeah, I wouldn't want that. And then they shut it off. Nothing's changed. Maybe it made them think a little bit more. Maybe it made them have to defend their position a little bit more, but they haven't been changed by it. They disagree. So you wouldn't care. What you care about is that they might agree or they might find themselves thinking about things in a little bit of a different way. And maybe they come back to you and maybe they're like, I don't know about this part of our relationship, blah, blah. Maybe they want to talk to you about it, or that's what you're worried about. You are worried about the power and influence that these people, these leaders in the space, whether it's Rollo Tomassi, whether it's Fresh and Fit, whether it's Andrew Tate, you are worried about their very strong voices potentially influencing your guy in a way that you don't like. That's what you're worried about. So just be clear about it. They're not hateful and they're not bad. They're just making you uncomfortable because you don't like their commentary and you don't want someone who you kind of have a little bit programmed maybe to be exposed to other ideas. So I also think just again, this word controversial, again, triggers me a little bit because it reminds me of all of the people that say, you know, they want a label. Like, look at all the labels that happen in that. Hateful, controversial. So what should he be listening to? What should your man be listening to? He's not supposed to listen to anything that you deem hateful. So what is that? Everything you disagree with? He's not supposed to be listening to stuff you deem controversial, which is basically everything. Can he listen to any political commentary, any social commentary, any commentary about gender activism? What's not controversial? So this is a deep insecurity speaks from a place like this. Deep insecurity speaks from a place of, I'm worried about what my person is going to be exposed to because it might change this dynamic. That's where that comes from. Insecurity and concern. And maybe even sensing that it could shift the power dynamic in the relationship. These girls are in control.